What's going on, everybody? Rob A here, and today we're taking a look at Transformers Masterpiece Beast Wars Megatron. Yes! So I am so excited to have this guy in hand at long last after seeing pictures at, was it Wonderfest? I don't know. It doesn't matter. It looked really, really good, and I'm super, super excited to have him in hand. As you can see, this is a very large box this guy comes in. Very large box, and yeah, it's MP-43, the Destron leader, or Predacon as we in the States know him. So let's take a look at this long life design here. On the back you can see a bunch of images of the figure. You've got the robot mode, hunting rifle as seen in the Call of the Wild episode. You've got Laser Buster. He does come with a toothbrush, of course. Rear view light mode, which is just all of the armor pieces removed, which is kind of an interesting choice to go with for the figure, but you know, that's pretty cool. Showing scenes with other figures in line. Of course, beast mode shows off the eye movement function here, rear view, action pose, and then just, you know, messing around with a bunch of other figures in beast mode. There's a bunch of Japanese here. I don't know what it says. And then on the sides you just get the usual Masterpiece stuff. So not too much to talk about there. On the bottom it does show the accessory list. It does not come with a display stand, unfortunately. You'll have to use the one from Dinobot. But he does come with a bunch of extra faces, the gun, the toothbrush, the blaster, and then some adapter parts to fit him onto Dinobot's stand. So you got that going on the top. You can see here just more of Megatron in robot mode. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get this guy out of the package and check him out right now. Alright guys, so here we have Masterpiece Beast Wars Megatron in his Dino mode. But first we're going to take a quick look at some of the stuff in the box. So first up, we do get this little collector card, which is nice. MP-43 Megatron Beast Wars. Yep, you get all that. Nice picture of Megatron here. And then on the back, of course, there's all these stats and things like that. So you do get that, and that's really exciting, I'm sure. You also get full color for, like, some of it instructions. It's more Japanese information, more of the same stuff that you see on the back of the package, so it's not really that meaningful there. Just a rundown of all the different accessories and how they can be used, and then how to remove all of the battle armor from the robot mode, and then some not extremely helpful instructions. So there you go. You do also get those, so yay. Along with that, you do get a couple of other accessories here for Dino mode specifically. Well, I guess one other accessory. You get this little clear doodad here, and it's meant to attach to Dinobot's figure stand, which I don't have with me. It's in storage. I apologize, so I can't show off the stand itself, but you just go ahead and you just pop this onto Megatron's little somehow bits here. It doesn't matter. Just like that. There you go. So you pop that on right on Megatron's and then you can use the figure stand to attach it, just like so. So you got that going on. Very, very exciting. So, the figure itself. Let's take a look here. We do have this really nice T-Rex. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons really quickly. Well, we've got it going on. We've got Dinobot here. If I can get them into the screen. They are actually pretty close in height at the head here, you can see. And also pretty similar in length, just about the same length between these two, which is kind of interesting. Dinobot wasn't quite that big in Dino mode in the show, but it's all right. You can see that Megatron does a really nice job of covering up all of the robot bits, where Dinobot had some, you know, some cheaty parts around here, but it's really not too bad overall. And then, of course, we'll take a look at Optimus Primal and you can see that Megatron is substantially larger than the maximal leader. Really, really cool. So we do have some articulation in beast mode. We'll start with the head here. We also have a voice function. When you open up the mouth, and you can open up the mouth, you can see there is a speaker hidden back there, as well as a little battery compartment. You can rotate on the other side of the head. There's a little panel here that flips up. There is actually an on-off switch. You could turn that on, and then this piece here, right here, is a button, and that will normally make some sounds happen. However, I put batteries in mine, and it hasn't done anything. So I don't know if the batteries are dead, because I took some out of the same package for the robot mode eyes, and those work just fine. So I don't know if there's maybe something wrong, but honestly, it doesn't bother me, because all the sounds he makes are phrases from the Japanese Beast Wars show, which I have absolutely no attachment to, never seen it, and have no interest in, so that's fine. Maybe someday we'll get a David K voice chip, and I can just replace the whole shebang. But there you go. I may have also installed something funny. I don't know. I'll take a look at it afterwards. It's not important to me right now, so let's get on with it. Like I showed you before, you can open up the Dino mouth quite a bit. The tongue is also posable, so you got that going on. The eyes, interestingly enough, are also posable, but you can do that by just pushing them around with your finger. There's no like internal mechanism or flip up thing like Dinobot had, so you do have to kind of fidget with it to get both eyes sort of in the same position on both sides of the head, and it can be a little tricky sometimes because obviously the amount of pressure you put on it will dictate how far the eye goes, and sometimes it's a little more slippery than others. So you got that going on, but it is a really cool feature because you can get some really nice expressions out of the head. The head also goes up and down a decent amount. It goes side to side nicely there, and you can also rotate it. So really, really cool. Very nice features there. You do have articulation in the T-Rex arms, so they can go out to the side, they can go all the way around, and there is a bicep swivel. So while he cannot quite touch his hands, you can get a little kind of scheming situation there with those fingers. They do go in a little bit, and can't quite touch, but you get the idea. And he can do his whole biding its time little wiggle fingers going on there, so you got that going on. The legs are a little bit constricted because one panel actually comes out from the leg and attaches to the back of the body here, so that does constrict movement, but really not that badly. And you can detach this panel if you want a little extra movement, but you can move the legs out to the side a little bit and get that going on. You can, of course, bend them at the knee here if you want to, and it's really cool. He does have a little panel to fill in the gap when you bend the knee here. Well, I guess this would be the beginning of the toe, the foot rather. Also gets a little bit here, and then of course the back of the foot, the dew claw here, or whatever you want to call it, and the heel of the robot mode foot, these are die-cast metal, and I feel like other parts of the leg are die-cast metal. They feel cold, but I don't want to just call it because I'm not 100% sure. The toes are individually posable and have a nice tight rotation, so they will hold the Dino mode up in multiple poses. And last but not least, the tail is posable. You can swing it, well, sometimes you can swing it from side to side, and then it has a posable point here as well, and it can go up a little bit. It's basically just the robot mode arm, and you're just bending it at the various joints in the robot mode arm to make it posable in Dino mode, but it works. So you got that going on. Very, very neat. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get Megatron transformed to robot mode. Now, it's really not that difficult, but it can be pretty frightening the first couple of times. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys as best I can, and hopefully you can follow along at home. Alright, so the first thing I like to do is just detach these panels back here, because it's just going to make things a lot easier, you know, going forward. So we're just going to go ahead and detach these panels. We're going to open up the leg panel here and just flip that in, and then you can close that leg panel back up. You can just pull these off completely if you want to, and that will make transformation a little bit easier because you've got less stuff in the way to worry about, but it shouldn't be necessary. They may pop off by themselves anyway. So once we got that done, I'm going to go ahead and just bring the legs down here, and that's just going to free up some space for us to work in, because the next thing we want to do is actually split the back end of the Tyrannosaur, and well, actually the first thing we want to do is detach the Dino mode head. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and we just kind of do that by wiggling it back and forth, and it will eventually pop free just like that. So then we want to go ahead and split these back panels. And you do want to be careful because these back panels are thin metallic purple plastic. So what I usually do is I try and get my finger down here where the main joint is for these, and just kind of pull them out from down here to kind of reduce stressing it from up top, if that makes sense. So we're just going to go ahead and bring these down just like that. And you can pretty much see that if you've messed with the original Megatron toy from the Beast Wars toy series, or the toy line rather, it's pretty much the same exact transformation. It really is. So that's pretty cool, I think. So we want to go ahead and lift the robot mode head up and keep pushing, because it's got little divots that you want to pop that head panel into, and then you can just rotate the head around. You don't even have to rotate it. Do note that the head is just on a ball joint inside like a little rubber cavity, so the head does pop out fairly easily, but it also pops back in just as easily. Now this is going to be probably the scariest part of the entire transformation. So you can kind of see in here there's a sliding panel that the robot mode chest rests on, and you want to go ahead and just pull that whole thing up just like that. And that's going to seem real scary because it does not want to go without a fight. So just be careful. Make sure you're holding on to this bracket so you don't snap the connector point here at the Dino body, and you should be fine. So we're going to go ahead and rotate the body around. We're going to bring these panels from the Dino chest in, and you want to make sure there is a double hinge here, and you want to make sure that you get that as far in as you can get it, because if not, it's not going to close properly. So you want to bring those down and in just like this, and we're going to rotate the robot mode chest, and I'll turn it around so you guys can hopefully see a little bit better here. And once all that stuff is in place, and I gotta raise the camera. Ooh. See, the problem with a giant robot is that when you got a tiny little camera to work with. Alright, so once you've got all of this stuff in position, this is folded over as far as it'll go. You just want to slide this back, and there are channels to help guide it backwards. And you just push it all the way back until you get these little purple clips are going to clip over the back of the Dino mode pieces. So once you've got those clipped in place, you'll know it's pretty much good to go. And now your robot mode is nice and solid. So now we can turn it back around, bring the robot mode waist up, And we're going to go ahead and push the legs forward at the hip here. You can see there's this little cutout piece. You just want to push that forward, and that's going to create the crotch of Megatron. All right, so you got that going on. Now we can work on these panels back here. Just like we did before, we're going to open this guy up. We're actually going to pull the panel out a little bit. It does detach, which I'll show off later. It does detach just like this. It's on this little extending piece here. But you can just pull it out a little at a time. It is a little sticky sometimes, so sometimes you'll just end up popping it off, but that's not the end of the world. It's meant to do that, so there you go. And you just want to take these panels here and rotate them in, and you'll see this little tab come up, and then you rotate this panel back down, and it's just going to attach to that tab, albeit loosely. And you just close that up, come around to the front, and then just rotate the little turret bits, or the little barrels out, and it's all going to close up in over that point. And then you've got one side done. And just do the same on the other side. Just going to bring it out a little bit here, open it up, we'll rotate the barrels out first, if it wants to play nice, which it doesn't, you know. Okay, so first we're going to bring this piece up just like that, then we'll rotate it forward, then we'll rotate these bits forward, then we'll close that up. Alright, it really is just a matter of getting everything done in the right order, and you'll have no troubles. We're just going to rotate the robot mode legs around here, straighten them out, straighten out his calves here, just like that. Bring the heel spurs out, just like that. And he should start standing on his own 2 feet. So pretty good. So we got Megatron here. He's a little messy, but we're getting there. We'll come to the back here, and you can see the robot mode pelvis. We're just going to spread that out, and it's going to pop into place like that. And we'll move these panels back and out of the way so we can get the other bits done. So next we're going to do this arm. We're just going to open up these panels here. We're going to flip the claw forward, and then we're just going to pull this whole section out. And you can see, hopefully, there's a little clip here, a little tab here, and you just clip that together to kind of replicate his claw weapon. It does pop out pretty easily, which I guess is a good thing. There we go. But I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. You just adjust his hand however you like, and then you can pop it in. There we go. Oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, it's still popping out. See, the weird thing is that it does clip in, but then the arm rests pretty high above that point, and you can just detach the whole shebang from there, like this here. So we'll move Megatron back for a second. So you can take the whole weapon off, right? And you've got this piece that does, and it does fold in like this and then rest pretty flush. But the way the arm works is it doesn't quite want to stay there. Like, it wants to pop itself out just by the leverage of it all. So if we pop it in, and then it's resting flush now, but now it is kind of floating out there. It's a little bit further out than I think it should be. So when you try and move Megatron's arm, at the elbow, it's going to just lever action that whole thing out. So that's a little bit annoying, but it's really not that big a deal because the joints are all tight enough that you can just have it kind of resting there, and it looks just fine, in my opinion, just like this. So you got that going on. Anyway, onto the other arm. We're just going to go ahead and bring this section down, and that's going to clip into place and form his dino head arm. And you can rotate it at the elbow, and you can rotate the head around to wherever is comfortable for you. And then you're about ready to deal with the panel situation on his back. Now, as far as the back panels on Megatron, this can be a little overwhelming because there's all these little panels and they're all made of kind of brittle looking plastic. But hopefully we'll be able to do this without any huge catastrophe. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go ahead and just gently separate these panels out and just kind of fold them in. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring this panel up like this. And then this top panel, which might be hard to see, this top panel here we're just going to bring down just like that and like that. And then we're going to take this whole section, which is on this little strut here, and just bring it right down and around. And we're almost done already. Great. So you can see there are little slots and tabs all over. You can tab them in, but you really don't have to. It holds together just fine by itself for the most part. We're going to bring this section in. And I'm not really going to tab it because this side doesn't really like to tab so much. So I don't want to force it. And it stays just fine without any trouble. There is another tab right here and a slot right here. So you can tab all that stuff together. And then you've got just a little compact pile of stuff. Bring the dino arm down. And then this panel here will come out. Here we go. Dino arm goes in a little bit more. And then this panel comes out and just kind of does all that. So you can see you've got this mash of panels here, but it's really not that difficult to deal with. So we'll try and do it on the other side as well. Separate these panels. Bring this panel down. This panel is going to come up. This panel is going to come down. We're going to bring the whole thing down this way. This whole section is going to come up. It's going to tab in, just like on the other side. Then this whole section is going to fold in like this. We're going to bring the dino arm down, just like so. And then this panel is going to fold back like this. And then these panels will fold in towards each other. And there is a tab here and a slot here, but you can't really get them to be straight on. So it's more of just like a guiding, hey, here's kind of where these go, so put them kind of sort of here. But otherwise, you just turn Megatron around and he looks fine. He's great. So we're going to go ahead and stand him up. Get all this stuff going. Back him up a little because he's super huge. And here we have Masterpiece Beast Wars Megatron in robot mode. Alright, so let's go ahead and do some size comparisons first before we get into all the articulation and everything else. So we're just moving it. Alright, I'm about to lose my background, just heads up. So there's Megatron, and we'll go ahead and give him Dinobot first. Let's pop Dinobot right here a little bit. Come on, Dinobot. Don't be a jerk. Here, you know what? Just give me this. Here he is with Dinobot. So Dinobot has a gigantic head, but overall Megatron is quite a bit taller, full head taller than Dinobot here. Bringing in Primal, coming to just about Megatron's midsection. And then of course we have Cheetor, which is just coming up to the top of Megatron's legs. So really huge figure. Probably closer in size to maybe Ultra Magnus, I would say, which is quite large. So let's take a look at some of the features, functions, and articulation. First thing first is the eyes do light up. You got that going on. Really nice. Head is on a ball joint, as mentioned before. You could rotate it all the way around. Go up, go down, side to side. You have a few different face options that you get by just pulling up on the faceplate here. So you can see we have the standard kind of thoughtful face. Of course, the jovial yes face. Got a motorcycle going in the background. Very cool. And then the very reminiscent of the original toy angry face as well. So you can pop each of these on. And if you have any difficulty, you can, of course, just take the whole head off to pop these on. There we go. And then there's just a button on the back. It takes 2 LR44 batteries for the head and 2 more for the Dino head, which are not included, of course. You do have these shoulder spikety thingamajiggies, shoulder teeth, whatever you want to call them, and they are movable, so they do get out of the way for posability, which is really cool. So shoulders can come up. They can actually come forward a little bit here. You got nice ratchet rotation all the way around there. You got the arm itself can come out on a ratchet as well as the shoulders, so you can really get some nice wide poses there. The elbow can pretty much go all the way in. It's I can't tell, is it a double hinged elbow? I don't think it's a double hinged elbow. Let's go ahead and remove the tail weapon again so we can kind of get an idea here. No, there's no double hinge elbow. It just kind of acts like that. You do also get a side-to-side motion for the tail, of course. The wrist does rotate, so you don't have gorilla arms, which is nice. The fingers are opposable. You got a joint in the thumb as well as at the base of the thumb, and a joint in the forefinger as well as the base. And these 2 last fingers are locked together, but you do get a joint at the base and the mid finger break there. So you get some nice poses out of the hand. Very cool. You got a wrist swivel. The legs are on ratchets. These, of course, can pop out of the way, or pop off in general, but they can move out of the way to get some leg poses out there. Forward, backward, ratchets all around. You got a nice knee swivel there. Ratcheting knees again. You got that little pop out section here, as well as when you bring the leg all the way down, there's another panel here that fills that in as well. So really nicely done there. The foot can go forward and back on a ratchet, and there is a ankle tilt as well. And then the Dino head arm, of course, You got the upward shoulder again. You got the ratcheting rotation. You got nice elbow ratchet joint there that can go about that far back. And then of course you do have the Dino head on a swivel, so you can rotate that Dino head around, and of course you have all the same articulation that the Dino head had in beast mode, as well as with the opening jaws and things like that, so you can get really, really nice poses out of this guy all the way around. Now he does come with a bunch of accessories, and I guess we'll show off really quickly. You can of course remove all of the armor bits here, and just pop these out. There's no real trick to these, you just pop them out. Shoulder pads you can remove by just rotating them forward and popping them off. They're just friction clips. So you can pop those off just like that. And then the back panels are merely on a slide like that. Just a keyed slide piece. So you can take all that stuff off and have a very weird, Gumby, naked-looking Megatron. Which, you know, I guess if that's what you're into, go for it. I'm not really, not really about that so much. But yeah, you know, you can do that. Hey, devious glowing eyes, naked Megatron. Perfect. And then, of course, you just put all this stuff back on. There we go. There we go. And I'm just going to go ahead and open this up and try and get this to cooperate a little bit more, maybe. There we go. Pop it right back in. There we go. And it is hard to see, but there are slots on the side of the legs and a tab here on the inside of the missile battery, or whatever you want to call it. So it does technically plug in or peg in, but it doesn't necessarily stay there super great. So just, you know, be aware of that. And then of course we can leave the we can leave this off for right now, but we'll stick the stick these panels back on. And you know, I do like the fact that even though there's like a lot of dinosaur on each of these panels, they really don't look that big, because the figure itself is so enormous that it's really not noticeable. Like, you barely even notice it, and the profile itself looks really like, the silhouette just looks exactly like he does in the show. So pretty awesome. So let's take a quick look at the accessories before we wrap this up. So the first accessory is this blast effect part. It's fine. You can stick it right in the Dino mouth, just like so, for a, you know, he's firing his laser. As well as the gun from Call of the Wild, which is, I mean, it's neat. I think it's a cool accessory. I don't really think it was necessary, honestly. Maybe if they had just omitted this piece and shaved a little bit off of the total price tag, it would have been a little nicer, but, you know, it's fine. And you can plug this into either one of the barrels and have it firing one barrel at a time. Maybe it would have been cool if it came with some blast effects parts specifically for the gun itself, but that's fine. There's a little tab here that can go into Megatron's wrist. just like, you know, just like you do on these Masterpiece figures. And then he can, I guess, balance it on the old Dino head here. Just like that. So that's pretty cool. He's also got his toothbrush because, you know, Megatron brushes his teeth. It's a thing that he did in the show a couple of times, and that's, I guess, you know. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm glad to have the accessory. It's neat, but I don't really see myself ever actually using it. Outside of this video, of course. But it's the same deal. Stick it in his palm here, and then he can, you know, get at those gums. You know, make sure he's taking proper dental care of Rexy here. Haha! Oh, and he dropped it. That's fine. And then last but not least, he's got a couple of these extra parts. This particular piece is for Dinobot's display stand, and it is made purely to have Megatron lie down, I guess. You stick it on the back here, and then you can have him... Something going on here, I don't know. It's meant to have him, like, up in the air so Primal can, like, throw him or something like that. It's a little silly. And then you've got this piece here that also kind of has the same effect, but this is for, you know, hold him upright when he's in robot mode. But either way, so yeah, I will say oh, you know what, I didn't even mention this. The Dino head is actually double jointed at the jaw, so you can close it, open it, and then you can actually have it open even more. So I didn't mention that part. I did show off that it can open, but not exactly how, so there you go. I will say getting him back into dinosaur mode can be pretty exhausting, to be honest. Just getting all the panels to line back up and everything like that can be really tricky and a little frustrating, to be sure, but overall, I got it done. You know, I transformed them a couple of times before I did the video, and it went, you know, pretty much without a hitch. Obviously, I didn't break anything, and, you know, there's no real stress marks that I should be particularly worried about, but, you know, it wasn't super easy or enjoyable to really fiddle around with all those panels. However, it was not overly difficult, and if you just put the time in, it can be a figure that you can swap out from mode to mode once in a while if you want to. Overall, really gorgeous robot mode. The paintwork is all fantastic. The printing on the dinosaur mode and all the parts and everything is just spot on. The face sculpts are great. The glowing eyes, phenomenal, and just overall it's a really solid figure, and I don't feel the sting of the crazy price point that they're asking for it. I can totally understand why it's not for everybody, based, you know, solely on that price point, because it is a $250+ figure. Depending on where you get it, and get to even over $300, but overall, I think it's a really fantastically done figure. I think it's top-notch quality, and just everything about it is just really well done. So that's going to do it for this review, guys. I want to thank you so very much for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. It really does help me out. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more. I've got more Transformers coming in the near future. Keep an eye out for that. I don't know why I'm talking really fast. This makes me so stupid. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button, and I will see you in the next one. Can't wait to get Black Arachnia and maybe some other Predacons in this deal here. Come on, Dinobot. Dang it. Why you gotta be the outlier with your stupid... There we go. Stupid hard to get thing. There we go. Alright, so I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.